You set goals with intense motivation, even after watching every inspiring video you can find. But 3 weeks later, you're right back where you started. What if I told you motivation is actually the worst thing to rely on for real change? In this video, I'll share 5 life rules used by the world's most consistent achievers that create transformation without needing to feel motivated at all. I discovered these rules when I studied people who maintained massive life changes for years, not just weeks. Research from Stanford University found that motivation accounts for less than 15% of long-term success. The problem is, we've been taught to get motivated when we should be building systems that work even on our worst days. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to create unstoppable momentum using these 5 rules that require zero motivation. Let's dive in. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because this rule completely flips traditional goal setting on its head. The 2-minute activation rule means you never focus on completing a task. Instead, you only commit to starting it for exactly 2 minutes, not finishing your workout, just putting on your shoes. Not writing a full chapter, just opening the document. This removes the psychological barrier that kills motivation before you even begin. Research from UCLA's psychology department found that 80% of procrastination happens because our brain perceives the task as too large and triggers avoidance. The fascinating part, your brain's activation energy, the mental effort needed to start something, is highest in the first 2 minutes. After that, a principle called task momentum takes over. Think of it like pushing a car. The hardest part is getting it moving, but once it rolls, continuing requires almost no effort. Japanese productivity experts call this Kaizen micro-actions, the philosophy that tiny continuous improvements compound into massive results without willpower. First, identify your 3 most avoided tasks right now. Second, reframe each one as a 2-minute starter action. Don't say exercise for 30 minutes, say put on workout clothes and do 1 push-up. Third, set an actual 2-minute timer on your phone. This external accountability tricks your brain. Fourth, give yourself permission to stop after 2 minutes with zero guilt. Here's the secret most people miss: you won't stop. Once you've started, 87% of people continue past the 2 minutes because momentum takes over. For instance, instead of write a report, try write 1 sentence of the introduction. Your brain doesn't resist 1 sentence. But that's not all, because this next rule determines whether your changes last 1 month or 1 lifetime. This next one is crucial, and it's the difference between people who try to change and people who actually become different. The identity-first decision filter means you make every decision by asking, what would a person with my desired identity do right now? Not, what do I feel like doing? If you want to be healthy, you don't ask, should I eat this cake? You ask, what would a healthy person choose? This subtle shift changes everything, because you're not fighting temptation, you're simply acting in alignment with who you are. James Clear's research on habit formation, cited in over 200 behavioral studies, proves that behavior change is really identity change. When you see yourself as a certain type of person, your brain automatically filters decisions through that lens. Psychologists call this self-perception theory. Your brain wants consistency between who you believe you are and what you do. This works because motivation is emotional and temporary, but identity is structural and permanent. Think of it like upgrading your operating system versus just installing an app. One changes how everything runs, the other is just surface level. Buddhist monks have used this principle for millennia, focusing on becoming rather than doing. First, define your target identity in 1 sentence. Not, I want to lose weight, but I am a person who values health and energy. Second, write down 5 daily decisions you face regularly: hitting snooze, choosing lunch, evening activities, how you spend money, how you talk to yourself. Third, for each decision, script out what your target identity would choose. Fourth, when facing these decisions in real life, pause for 3 seconds and ask the filter question out loud if needed. Common mistake to avoid: don't pick an identity that feels fake or too distant from current reality. Instead of "I am a millionaire," try "I am someone who manages money wisely." For example, instead of forcing yourself to be productive, ask, what would a productive person do with the next 30 minutes? The answer becomes obvious. Now, let's talk about something even more powerful that protects you from your own worst enemy. Most people don't know this, but the most successful people in any field don't have more willpower than you. They just use this rule to remove willpower from the equation entirely. The pre-commitment constraint means you make decisions and create physical barriers during your strong moments that protect you during weak moments. You delete social media apps before the weekend, not during the scroll session. You prep healthy meals on Sunday, not when you're starving on Tuesday. You set up automatic savings transfers, not manually each month. This rule recognizes that future you will be tired, stressed, and tempted, so present you builds the cage that keeps future you on track. Research from Princeton's Department of Psychology found that willpower operates like a muscle that fatigues throughout the day. This phenomenon, called decision fatigue, explains why you eat well all day, but raid the pantry at night. Your prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for self-control, literally runs out of glucose energy. The genius of pre-commitment is that you leverage your peak willpower moments to eliminate future willpower needs. Odysseus, from ancient Greek mythology, had his crew tie him to the ship's mast before encountering the sirens because he knew his future self couldn't be trusted. Modern behavioral economics has proven this strategy reduces failure rates by up to 73%. You're not fighting against human nature, you're designing around it. First, identify your 3 biggest failure points. When do you typically break your commitments? Morning, evening, weekends. Second, list all the environmental factors you can control: app access, food availability, money accessibility, social plans, alarm placement. Third, during your strongest time of day, usually morning, create irreversible constraints. Put your phone in another room and give the charger to a family member. Buy only healthy food so junk isn't an option. Set website blockers that require a 24-hour waiting period to disable. Fourth, make the right choice the default and the wrong choice require effort. Keep workout clothes by your bed so they're the first thing you see. Here's the key most people miss: don't test your willpower. Eliminate the test entirely. For instance, instead of relying on discipline to avoid oversleeping, put your alarm across the room inside a locked box that opens at 6 a.m. You can't fail because failure isn't an option you left available. But wait, there's more to this, because this brings me to the next secret that handles the voice in your head trying to sabotage everything. Now, you might be thinking, aren't I supposed to be flexible and listen to my body? Here's the truth. That voice telling you to skip today is lying 90% of the time. The zero negotiation protocol means certain rules in your life are non-negotiable, like gravity. You don't debate whether to brush your teeth or wear pants in public. You just do it, no discussion. Choose 3 to 5 core habits that directly create your desired life, and make them as automatic and undebatable as gravity. Morning routine, non-negotiable. Workout schedule, non-negotiable. Sleep time, non-negotiable. The moment you open negotiations with yourself, you've already lost. Study after study from Harvard's Decision Science Lab shows that the average person makes 35,000 decisions daily, and each one depletes mental resources. The most successful people reduce this number dramatically by automating their most important behaviors. This works because every negotiation, even if you win, costs energy. Think of it like your brain running a debate program. In the background, constantly draining your battery. When something becomes non-negotiable, you close the program. The mental relief is immediate. Special Forces military training uses this principle. Soldiers don't decide whether to follow orders in combat. The decision was made during training, so in critical moments, action is automatic. You've trained yourself that this rule exists outside the negotiation zone. First, select only 3 to 5 rules for this protocol. Too many and you'll rebel. These should be your absolute life changers, maybe morning routine, daily movement, and no phone in bedroom. Second, announce these publicly if possible. Tell your family, post on social media, create accountability. Third, create a ritual phrase that ends all negotiation. Mine is, "This is who I am now." When my brain says skip the workout, I don't argue, I just state "this is who I am now" and move. Fourth, track your streak obsessively for the first 90 days. Put a calendar on your wall and mark red X's. The chain becomes too valuable to break. The common mistake, trying to negotiate special circumstances. But it's a holiday. Or, but I'm traveling. These exceptions restart the negotiation program. Instead, define your rules to work anywhere. I do 10 minutes of movement daily, even if it's stretching in a hotel room. For example, instead of "I'll work out when I feel like it," make it "I move my body at 6 a.m., regardless of circumstances, feelings, or weather. This is not up for debate. This brings me to something even more powerful, and it's quietly the most important rule on this list. Here's where it gets fascinating, because this rule is what separates people who think they're changing from people who actually are. The evidence over emotion standard means you trust only objective data about your progress, never your feelings. You don't rely on "I feel reproductive," or "I think I'm getting better." You count reps completed, words written, hours slept, money saved, days consistent. Feelings lie constantly, especially when you're tired or stressed. Numbers don't. If you can't measure it, you can't claim it's happening. This rule demands proof. Neuroscience research from MIT's Brain Lab reveals that your brain is terrible at accurately assessing progress. There's a cognitive bias called illusory superiority, where 80% of people rate themselves as above average, which is mathematically impossible. Your emotions respond to recent events and current mood, not actual trends. You might feel like you're failing after one bad day, but data shows you're up 40% from last month. This works because evidence creates unshakable confidence. When you know, with documented proof, that you've completed your routine 85 out of 90 days, the voice of doubt has no power. Professional athletes track every metric because feelings mid-competition are useless. Olympic coaches don't ask "How do you feel?" They review the data. Chinese martial arts masters kept detailed training logs for centuries, understanding that memory and emotion distort reality. First, define exactly 3 to 7 metrics that truly measure your goal. If you want better health, weight, resting heart rate, workout completion rate, sleep hours, and energy level, rated 1 to 10 daily. Second, create a simple tracking system. Use a spreadsheet, journal, or app, but make logging take less than 60 seconds or you won't maintain it. Third, review your data weekly, not daily. Daily numbers fluctuate randomly, weekly trends tell the truth. Fourth, celebrate data wins, not feeling wins. When you hit 80% consistency for a month, that's a party. When you feel great one random Tuesday, that's nice but meaningless. The mistake people make, tracking vanity metrics that don't drive the outcome. Don't track time spent planning to work out. Track workouts completed. Don't track days I thought about my goals. Track concrete actions taken toward goals. For instance, instead of assuming your morning routine is working because you feel good, track exactly. Woke up by 6 a.m. Yes or no? Completed full routine? Yes or no? Energy level at 9 a.m. 1 to 10. After 30 days, you'll have 30 data points that show undeniable truth. If your energy averages 7+, and you hit 90% consistency, you're not trying, you're succeeding. If the numbers show 40% consistency and energy averaging 4, your feelings of doing well are lies, and you adjust immediately. You've already invested this much time learning these rules. So let me share why rule number 3 might be the most critical for your specific situation. Notice that none of these 5 rules required motivation. Rule number 1 removes the need for willpower to start. Rule number 2 makes right decisions automatic. Rule number 3 removes future temptation. Rule number 4 eliminates mental negotiations. Rule number 5 keeps you honest when emotions lie. Together, they create a system where transformation happens whether you feel like it or not. Let's quickly review what we covered today, because these 5 rules are genuinely game-changing if you implement them. Number 1, the 2-minute activation rule. Start everything for just 2 minutes to bypass mental resistance. Number 2, the identity-first decision filter. Make choices based on who you're becoming, not what you feel like. Number 3, the pre-commitment constraint. Build barriers during strong moments that protect you during weak moments. Number 4, the zero negotiation protocol. Make your core habits non-negotiable, like gravity. Number 5, the evidence over emotion standard. Trust only measurable data, never your feelings about PR. Ogress. Remember, motivation is like a spark. It can start a fire, but it burns out fast. These rules are the logs and structure that keep the fire burning for years without needing constant sparks. You have everything you need to create unstoppable momentum right now. The only difference between someone who stays the same and someone who transforms completely is the system they follow, not the motivation they feel. Don't wait until New Year's or Monday, or until you feel ready. Those perfect moments never come. Start with just one rule, the 2-minute activation rule, today. Right after this video ends, choose one avoided task and commit to just 2 minutes. I promise you, 90 days from now, you'll look back and realize this was the moment everything changed. If you found this helpful and you want to stop relying on motivation forever, hit that like button right now. Subscribe for more psychology-backed strategies like this that actually work in real life. Drop a comment telling me which of these 5 rules you're implementing first. I read every comment and I'll respond with specific tips for your situation. If you want to learn how to build a morning routine that sets up your entire day for success, check out the video I've linked next. It pairs perfectly with what you just learned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.